Good morning. It is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. We are in the very smack dab middle of the week. We're about, I think, 33 days away from the end of summer. Let's see. Yes, today is day 232 of 2025. And we are 33 days until autumn begins. So, at least in this part of the world, that means apples and cinnamon and apple cider donuts and lots of wonderful traditions in the fall. I just absolutely love autumn. And being here in the Northeast, similar in some ways to the Northwest in the fall, and the colors and just the types of foods that are available, the fruit and everything. It's just my favorite time of year. There's just no question about it. So what's your favorite time of year? If you're on Substack, leave me a comment. What do you like as far as the best time of year and why? Is it the food? Is it what you get to do? I mean, I don't mind summer. Summer this year so far hasn't been, I mean, it's been hot, but I feel like it was hotter last year. So maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's my sense anyway. All right. So what do we have here? Yes. What holidays? There aren't really any holidays that are going on today, although there are observances, which are probably industry created, but I found 4 of them so far. National Radio Day. So I guess we'll extend that to podcasts. National Bacon Lovers Day. Once again, that is every day of the year as far as I'm concerned. National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day. Do love a pecan pie. And my favorite, World Mosquito Day, because even the mosquitoes get a day. So we get to learn about the important role mosquitoes play in our environment and how to protect yourself from bites. Yikes. I remember going to Vietnam the first time when I was in college. I just finished undergrad. And all the shots we had to get back then to go to Vietnam. And, I mean, it really scared the crap out of us. We really thought, my goodness, the malaria, just on and on and on. People even warned us about going there. And we went and had a wonderful time and had no issues with any of that. So we weren't swimming in any swamps with mosquitoes or anything. So that was good, but quite the memories. So I've been investing a lot in networking since moving. I've moved a lot, and the hardest part about moving is building a new community. And it's not that you can't meet people pretty quickly and whatever, but the kinds of relationships that produce, life that is the richest form, where those relationships, I still get people that say, oh, are you going to be moving soon? I think they've seen a lot of people come and go, particularly in an area, in an urban area like, New York and New Jersey. There's a lot of people who come and go because there's a lot going on and people are taking a job and then they're going to another big city, or they're moving to Florida or, Hawaii or something. But I'm doing a lot of networking, and as far as work goes, I work with teams. I work with executives typically, or leadership teams, turning them around. I've added some other services recently in partnership with another company in terms of offering hiring strategy services. But it's all around people. It's about solving conflicts, reducing friction, and optimizing the environment and the strategies for people to be in the right roles and to thrive in those roles, especially in relation to other people on the team and how they're working together. Okay. So that's sort of broad strokes, but I would go into networking groups. I've been in lots of different ones, and I had a number of experiences where I started questioning how clear I was as a communicator, because I would say, well, I help turn around leadership teams at hospitals and in government organizations and other large bureaucratic organizations. I turn around leadership teams that are struggling with communication breakdown and lack of trust and, toxic conflict. And I would focus on a particular service. And I would get people who, after 3 meetings, would say, I still don't know what you do. I'm not clear. And I started going, gee, I mean, how do I get more clear? I must not be communicating very clearly. I felt like I was walking into a McDonald's and saying, yes, I'm here to get a double cheeseburger and a side of medium fries and a Coke. And the person saying, I'm not really clear what you want. That's how I felt. But it happened several times. There was a profile of the kind of person who would be confused by what I do. And they often were in professional services, financial industry especially. Not always. I don't want to overly stereotype, but there was sort of a profile. But even still, fast forward to the last month, I've had several experiences that have helped me to see this really differently. And one of them is I went to a National Speakers Association meeting, and this is a group of people who get paid to stand on stages and speak. And so it's something that I'm working hard on. I want to start a speaking career and add that. And because it's a medium that I like and it's something that I've done a lot of speaking. I just haven't turned it into a business. I haven't marketed myself for that. But I went to that meeting, and everybody I talked to, the conversations were just so easy, and there was kind of a mutual understanding, and there was a lot of what we would call high context communication, right? So a lot of things that were just sort of understood, why you would want to do that. Don't have to question that with anybody. People kind of know because you all share that context and that joy of it. And then yesterday I had a one-on-one Zoom call with a new contact, and she and I had this wonderful conversation. She has this incredibly amazing niche business where she helps actors with their accents. So if you are an actor and you've got to develop a Welsh accent or some kind of particular accent for a role, she'll help you make it right. And she also helps people reduce their accents. So if they're a non-native English speaker and they're in the United States, for example, and they are in business and they want to grow their opportunities, unfortunately, sometimes there's bias against accents, and she can help people kind of make them more mild or modify them to help their career, help their confidence and clarity. And anyway, her name is Melanie Fox. She's amazing. In fact, I'll put a link to her business in the show notes if you're interested in what she does. But, after a few minutes of talking, she said, now who would I refer to you? What kind of people are you interested in meeting as far as business opportunities? And I said, well, there's really a wide swath of industries. It's fairly agnostic, although there are a few that, tend to be more interested than others, but it really is agnostic. And I can help small, medium, and large businesses, but I just do different things for those businesses. So it goes completely against the tiny niching. I didn't really have to say a whole lot. I just explained essentially what I said previously in this podcast. And I stopped, and she kind of reflected back on me. Okay, so you're industry agnostic, but what you really do is, and I don't even remember the word she used, but it was so perfect. She nailed exactly not only the services of what I offer, but she was able to articulate why I would be uniquely different and better than other options without me even fully explaining it. And in that moment, I thought it perfectly encapsulated the importance of being with your people. You may not always, it's not that other people are bad or good, right? It's not a judgment of value. But when you're around people who get you, who can see you, things are so much easier. And if I apply that to the spaces that I'm in, the friendships that I'm nurturing, but particularly the spaces that I'm in, the networking groups, the communities, it's so important, I think, to invest in the right people. And of course, that takes a lot of self-awareness to know yourself well enough. And and to do it in a way that isn't judgy about, hey, that's not my tribe or those aren't my people, like they're bad. It's just really understanding where you fit and where you don't have to work 10 times as hard to explain yourself. It can be absolutely exhausting. And I've seen a lot of people burn out on networking because of it, because it feels so hard to go out and, okay, it's like speed dating with people who you kind of think aren't going to ever be interested in you. And it's exhausting. Trying to explain why you're in a particular role or what you're looking for or why you do what you do. It's not always straightforward. And when you're around people who get you or who are in this sort of similar tribe who, usually they're not competitors, I have to say. When I deal with people who are straight up competitors, I sense often an energy of them evaluating how what they do is different and better than yours. And no matter how nice they are, they're not going to refer you business generally. And, they might respect that you do what you do in a little different way, but there's sort of a defensiveness with some people that comes in. They see what you're doing and maybe they like it, and then they start thinking, well, gee, I what I do is better because X, Y, and Z. They start kind of pitching in their head because they can see themselves competing against you. It's natural. I don't judge that. But when you find people who have the similar values and who help similar types of people but help them with different things, and they can really see your value, man, it is like the difference between rowing really hard in the wind against the stream and sailing with the wind at your back and a big sail and just cutting through that glass water. That's really the difference. So I've always said I'd rather sail than row if I can help it. Now, does that mean you don't try out different groups? Of course. There's value in being around people who do very different things. And so I am not closing myself off to that. But it is amazing the stark difference between when people get you and when they don't. You can feel like, gee, I'm not clear. It may not be you. It may be the people you're talking to. So choosing an audience, I guess, is the point. Choose your audience carefully when you can, and it will make things easier. At least that's what I've learned over the years. I hope that inspires you in some facet of your life, whatever that translates to. Hopefully that brings you a little bit of insight. And with that, I'm going to wrap it up for today and wish you the very best on this Wednesday. And be good to yourself, and be good to others, and we'll check in tomorrow. Take care, everybody.